Sarah, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm super excited. I watched Popeye the Slayer Man just a few nights ago as we're recording this, and I loved it. I had a blast with it. So I'm excited to
Good.
talk about that and some of the other cool projects that you're involved in and have coming up. Before we get to any of that though, whenever we have the time and we have the luxury and we're able to, we always try to talk a little bit about the Halloween holiday itself. And sometimes I like to start these interviews by zooming in and getting a little bit of your real life origin story through that orange and black lens of Halloween, if you will. So, if you could talk to us a little bit about, well, first of all, do you celebrate Halloween? I think I know the answer to that.
Oh
And
yeah.
and what is your earliest memory, as far back as you can remember, of the Halloween holiday itself?
I it's funny because like I feel like my memories of Halloween when I was little are really based on like photos that my parents still have. So my mom made this like kind of clown like Raggedy Ann costume for me once. It was like half blue and half pink and both sides had polka dots and my hair was in pigtails, and put red makeup on my nose and like it was all super cute and went trick-or-treating around our neighborhood. We lived at the end of a dead end, the cul-de-sac. So like we could go, there wasn't a lot of traffic. So it was really a great place to grow up because you could go out and play in the street and, not be worried about it or anything. So I always loved going trick-or-treating as a kid. I also, one of my biggest Halloween memories is when I first started to like learn about like alternative cultures and I was like, I want to start dressing in like black and have like fake piercings and that sort of thing. I first did it for Halloween so that
Mhm.
like no one would think it was weird. That
Right?
was my soft, let me try this out. And
Yes,
then maybe it's a costume, maybe it's not.
that's right.
It's a great way to, start expressing yourself in a way that's safe
Well,
culturally.
it is absolutely, and we see that theme come up a lot. Yeah, people do tend to begin to find their self, their more creative self, a lot of times through Halloween when they start thinking about their earliest memories of it. Is oh yeah, that did kind of lead to me, doing plays or getting into films or getting into movies and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So I mean, I
absolutely.
think there is something to that of just being able to dip into something a little bit outside your everyday,
Yeah.
if only for a little bit, or permanently like us. I mean, we're always dipping into all kinds of
Oh,
different
all the
stuff.
time.
So,
But it gives you permission to be a weirdo.
sure,
Like everyone loves Halloween when you do
yeah,
Halloween. So like you can do all the weird, not normal, not mainstream stuff and like that's okay if it's during Halloween.
right, exactly. Well said, exactly. Um, now, how about today? With Halloween, I mean, with you and yours, do you guys look forward to it? Do you celebrate? Do you go
Oh my God.
big and have a good time with it? What's Halloween mean to you now?
We have 165 pumpkins that are carved in or stored in our attic every year to decorate.
I
Just
love
to
it.
give you that'll we'll just start there.
That's the baseline starting point for.
That's a
I like.
baseline starting point.
I
Yeah.
love it.
No, love Halloween. Love Halloween, especially, I mean, in Los Angeles, there's so
Yeah.
many events and so many things to do. So like literally Halloween for us starts like September 1st. Like
Hmm.
September and October are all Halloween. There's it's just so much all the theme parks and everything do put on their spooky attractions and there's everyone that's trying to like get in on the spirit, so it is a 2 month long event. At this point it's even going a little bit into November and then like
Yeah.
Christmas kind of starts too, December.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, I mean every day is Halloween in my heart. That's
Yeah.
the reality of it.
Well, of course, we love to hear it, and again, I kind of suspected that about you, but yeah, to hear you say it out loud, that confirms it. Yeah, you're definitely one of us. We figured as much, but to hear it confirmed, that's always special to us. So we can definitely
Absolutely.
relate to all that. And you're right. I mean, we've only visited LA a few times, but man, I mean, there is so much always going on out there, and yeah,
Oh
they
yeah.
really, y'all really know how to do Halloween right, for sure, with all
It's
the events and just even just the decorations and everything. It seems
oh, it's next level.
even more so there maybe than a lot of places, certainly.
I mean, the neighborhoods not too far from us in like Burbank and Toluca Lake, you could just go walk around and they are better than like most like theme parks. Just what people pull out and do for like the yard displays, like that
Yeah.
in itself is an activity. Like I have a friend and a filmmaker, Sean Cronin, who is in the UK, and he loves horror and he works a lot in horror. And he came to LA during October, and he was like, what is going on? He was like, this is next level. You have
Yeah.
stores that are year round, have Halloween displays where you can go and like, and we have the horror bodega, which is like a horror themed like corner store. We have horror vibes coffee, you know, a horror themed coffee shop. Like it's all the time. It's not just, even though like the season is the peak of it, it's year round. It's a lifestyle. It's not just a, you know, go in and out sort of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course we love all of that about that. And that's one of my favorite things too, whenever I get to talk to somebody who didn't grow up, where Halloween was a big thing, grew up in other cultures and other countries. And a lot of times we do get to talk, and I'm always curious, like what was your Halloween like growing up? Was it just, and sometimes it was only seeing it in movies or seeing it,
Yeah.
in news reports of like what's going on over there in America. That looks fun though. I want a piece of that. So, um, yeah, we love to hear
Yeah.
that. Now we always try to ask too on Halloween, the holiday, still your favorite all-time costume that you've ever worn, and also your favorite candy or treat, Halloween treat.
Mm. Okay, I'll do treat first. So I really love Twix. Twix is my
Ah, yes.
okay. So or Reese's. Reese's is so good too. It depends day to
Yeah,
day. My
I
favorite
like them both.
costume. That's really hard. Okay, how about what would have been my favorite costume, but my mom never actually made it for me.
Okay.
It would
All
have
right.
been Patty from Fern Gully. Did you ever watch
Yeah.
Fern Gully?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I wanted to be Batty so badly.
Oh,
But
awesome.
mom never made me the costume when I was little. So that was yeah, I
The
was a
the
little
greatest one, the greatest what if, the greatest one that
yeah,
never that could have been. Well, there's still time though. Maybe now
there
you
is
can
still
just
time.
yeah, you can just make it
Yeah,
yourself, and
I
you
should
could do it
actually.
this year. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I did last year. I did the Substance. I've
Oh,
done
nice,
like Drusilla from Buffy.
awesome.
I mean, like I now I do more like horror movie themed
Yeah,
costumes, specifically, and try to just have fun and be clever with it. But yeah, Batty's always stuck in my mind. It's the one that never was.
awesome. Well, again, I'll be following your Instagram this year to see if it happens this year, maybe.
Maybe I'll have to
Yeah.
start working on that. That's with the wings and everything. That would be, yeah, crazy costume.
To be continued.
Exactly.
Um, and you've talked about horror movies a little bit, and obviously, you're no stranger to the genre. You've been in a lot of horror movies, and as you're talking about this, you're very much a part of just the that LA genre scene, for lack of a better term. Um, was that something that you have always liked as a viewer as well, or has it just worked out that that's been the genre that you're most comfortable working in, or is horror something that you've always had a passion for as well?
It's something that I kind of just fell into.
Hmm.
I didn't really grow up watching a lot of horror movies. When I was growing up, I was fairly sheltered. I wasn't really
Hmm.
allowed to watch horror movies. Like I wasn't even allowed to watch The Simpsons because that had bad family values.
Yeah.
So like horror, I didn't really discover until later.
Hmm.
And I never specifically set out to be like a horror actor. Like
Yeah.
I have a degree in acting from like an acting school, and like I did all the typical actor things. But I started working in horror while I was still in school, getting my degree. And horror is just a really loyal genre, so like once you start working in it, there's such a strong community and just an appreciation for the genre and between like filmmakers and actors that refer you to other, other people. So once you start working in horror, it just snowballs very quickly. So that's,
Mhm.
and the more I work in it, the more I consume it, the more I enjoy it. I mean, I've always been on the like the spooky side of things, so it's definitely, these are definitely my people.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's just it's kind of a loop that just continues to like feed itself.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, with the film that brings us here today, we're talking about the recently released, I guess it's out now as we're recording this on
Yeah.
VOD, Popeye the Slayer Man. I mentioned it at the top, and I just watched it, and it's the latest in these recent trend, really, of all, a lot of our beloved classic characters have become
Mhm.
public domain in recent years. So, of course, horror, they're kind of like the first out the gate, or maybe they're like the piranhas. I don't know, but they're just coming in, and it's kind of exploded in the last couple of years with a lot of
Yeah.
these characters. Um, and so this is Popeye, obviously, as the Slayer Man. Um, for our audience that hasn't seen it yet, can you tell them a little bit about what they can expect, and maybe what sets this one apart a little bit from some of these other ones, and how you got involved in working on this project?
Yeah, absolutely. So the basic concept is that there's a group of student documentary filmmakers that go to an abandoned spinach canning factory to investigate the legend of the Sailor Man, who is supposed to be haunting the factory, and things go terribly wrong from there. um, so it has a lot. The filmmakers really wanted to do a throwback to like horror films of the 80s, like all, practical effects, and like more like Friday the 13th, where it's somewhat self-aware, and there's joy and fun in the kills. It's not taking
Mm-hmm.
itself too seriously, which you have to do with these public domain movies.
Yeah.
No one's making like Schindler's List here, like
Right.
we know what these are. They're meant to be fun. They're meant to be watched with a crowd. They're meant to be watched like when you're having a drink with your buddies. Like
Right.
they're supposed to be enjoyable, and I think that this film really succeeds in that. There's a lot of Easter eggs and throwbacks to the original comic. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of purposefully campy comedy moments that are really satisfying for viewers. And the gore is really great. Like the RJ, the special effects artist, did a really great job with that. So how I got involved was so I've been friends with the producers and director for long time now, and I was texting with one of the producers, Kyle. I was actually just getting like vacation tips on visiting
Mm-hmm.
Salem because
Oh,
he goes a
nice.
lot. And he was like, well, I'm going to be in New England in spring of next year because I'm doing another movie with Robert and Jeff. And I was like, oh, well, coincidentally, I'm also going to be in New England in spring
Mm-hmm.
of next year on a different movie called Round the Decay. I'm like, maybe we haven't seen each other in a while. Let's find a time to like meet up and get lunch or whatever. And he was like, well, you know what? We haven't cast all the roles in our movie yet. Would you be interested in being part of it? And I was like, yeah, of course. Sounds fun. Why not? I want to go hang out with my friends and make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked Robert and Jeff if they were okay with, putting me in the movie, and they said yes. And the schedules actually worked out for once, between the two films. So I went and I did Round the Decay for 2 weeks, and then I visited with my parents because I'm originally from New England, so I got to see them. And then I went over and did Popeye, and it was all just like nice and easy and super convenient.
Oh, very cool. Now, you did. We won't spoil anything, but I mean, I guess we say you got to do some scenes with Popeye. You got to
I
work with
did.
Popeye. Um, do Was that? I imagine it was somewhat surreal, because again, this character has been in all of our lives, just even peripherally, even if you didn't like. I remember being a kid and knowing about him as a cartoon, I guess, but I remember the Robin Williams movie.
Yeah.
That's kind of maybe my earliest thought of Popeye, maybe, I think. But I remember the Robin Williams movie back, so long ago, and watching that as a kid, and he's just always been around in pop culture, and then here he's presented in this total, horror slasher way. what was that like on set? I imagine it was a bit surreal to see this character like that.
It absolutely was. It totally was. I mean, I've always been aware of Popeye because he's just so much in our, you
Right.
know, culture. I don't think I ever really watched it, like the cartoons or like read any of the comics
Yeah.
or anything like that, but like you know who Popeye is. That's just something that's like
Exactly.
steeped in us. Um, so when we were on set, just with the way that the scheduling was for the shots, because there were so many practical effects in especially in that final sequence that I'm in. I actually only interacted with Popeye, I think in like one scene when you see his big forearms come out and like pull the guy away.
Yeah.
All the other stuff with Popeye, so like when I see him down the hallway, that was an insert that they did later and cut together. So I'm just reacting to what they're telling me is happening, and he's not actually there. And then the effects sequences, they shot all of my stuff first with, you know, getting
Hmm.
blood in the face and all that, while the effects artist was working in setting up the effects on the two other actors, Joel and Christian, that were in the scene. So I wasn't actually there that much when they were doing that stuff. That was a lot of that was just like the magic of editing and, you know, putting it all together.
Hmm.
So I didn't see like fully how gory that sequence was until I saw the movie. And then I was like, oh, like this really came together like really well.
Yeah, and it definitely, yeah, it makes a statement. We'll put it that way
Yes.
when that sequence happens for sure. So that film, you know, again, it's kind of the latest in these public domain horrors. What do you? I mean, do you have thoughts? I mean, you talked about it how they're meant to be watched as a fun experience, and I guess maybe that's what it is. Because I was going to ask, like, what you think maybe why it is that's it's such a trending thing right now, specifically for horror, that us horror fans can take these characters and just yeah, let's just sit back and see what they can do, turning Popeye into a slasher. Which again, when I'm watching it, somebody who's seen all the slashers and everything, you know, I mean, I really appreciate as you mentioned the throwback aspects just of the filmmaking and the framing sometimes and some of the like you said some of the stuff in the shadow and just some of that you know it's you know, it's Popeye in this, and it's funny, but it's almost like you could put an anonymous slasher in there, and it'd be you know terrifying, you know, to at a whole nother level with that, or just a you know just a figure back there in some of those. So, but what is it about right now that or is it just that they became public domain? I mean I don't know. It's just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this?
I've been wondering about that too, because it does seem like all of a sudden there's like a lot of them, and obviously
Yeah.
it is the rights, it is that, you
Hmm.
know, now they are public domain and people can go and like do stuff with them.
Hmm.
um and so I think it is just kind of like a morbid curiosity in a way, you
Yeah.
know, like to see how the filmmakers are going to take this beloved character and just kind of like turn it and like what they're going to do with it. I think I think most of them do have the same appeal that a lot of those 80s slashers did have,
Yeah.
you know, where you're not watching Friday the 13th for the campers, you're watching it for Jason, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
like you want to see what they're going to do with this character that's been created that in a lot of ways is larger than life, and how they're going to make this into like a brutal, gory, fun film. So I think that's a lot of the appeal. I'm really curious to see. I have a feeling at some point that people are going to get pretty tired of them. So I wonder
Yeah.
where that peak is going to be, you
Hmm.
know, like before people are like, all right, we're done. Kind of like with the superhero movies. At some point, people are like, we're done.
Yeah.
We don't need any more. So like, where is that going to happen with the public domain horror movies? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out. Right. For now though, it doesn't seem like there's any end in sight in the immediate future.
No,
Because yeah, there's still a ton of them to come. But yeah, this is definitely a fun one, and I had a blast with it for sure.
that was so
Um,
fun.
let's while we've got you, let's if we could talk about a few of your other projects that I know
Yeah.
you've worked on, and I don't I think they're coming out this year. And one of them though that I wanted to ask you about, and I guess they just recently announced some more cast members, and it's done filming. It stars some other friends of ours. It's called If It Bleeds,
Hmm.
and we've been hearing about this film, and again, it features some other friends of ours and people that we're fans of, and everything we're hearing about it, it sounds like a really cool project. We're going to be excited for. Um, Anything you can tell us about that and your involvement on that one? I know
Yeah.
that's on the horizon.
So that I'm really excited to see that one too. The cast on that is phenomenal. I
Yeah,
mean, like Doug Jones and Catherine Corcoran, Dee Wall, like it's a phenomenal cast
yeah.
that Matt's really put together for that. So it's an anthology film. It's Matt's directorial debut, so it's his first time, going out there. And he's been working on shorts for a long time and helping other people a lot of their features. So like he's really
Hmm.
talented, but this is his first step into like I'm gonna do it myself. And this was another one where I know Matt from I met him through another filmmaker friend, Sam Gonzalez Jr., who kind of has been mentoring Matt a bit, and I've worked with Sam on a bunch of things too. He directed the Retaliators, which came out last year.
Hmm.
And that was another one where he was like, well, I'm doing this thing, like, do you want to be part of it? Like, here's the sequence, here's what the role would be. And it sounded really fun, it was opportunity to do something a little different with that character that I play. So I'm a nurse in a plastic surgery clinic, and the plastic surgeon is not a very good surgeon. So and I get killed pretty epically and very awesomely in that one. It's a different type of character for me, like long red nails and like bubble gum chewing, and I did this like awful like Jersey Long Island accent just to be like as obnoxious as possible, which was super fun. Um, but that actually started because so during the SAG strike, it was really difficult to get
Yeah.
permission to do features,
Hmm.
but you could do shorts. So Matt started doing shorts during the SAG strike in the hopes of being able to then put it together into a feature, which I thought was really smart. That was
Yeah.
a really smart way for him, to work within the system,
Hmm.
and still continue to make something that then later could be released as a feature.
That makes a lot of sense to work around the strike that way and
Mm-hmm.
keep the project rolling.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Do what you can while you can.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, everything we've heard about that one and everything you're telling us, yeah, that's going to be right up our alley. I can't wait to see that. Um, and I guess the plan is for it to be released sometime this year, or we don't know yet.
I hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
I shot that what 2 years 2022, and it was
Hmm.
December. I want to say it was like December
Hmm.
2022 or maybe 2023 at this point. But it was a while ago, and he keeps adding like more to it, which is great. Like every so often I see there's a new announcement with like new people involved. I'm like, oh cool, like there's a new short, that's going to be part of the anthology, and more fun, awesome people that are like getting involved. So just it's one of those things that just keeps like growing and growing and growing. And I think it's also a really good example of, filmmakers that want to create something but don't necessarily have the resources to do it all in one time. You could do
Yeah.
something like this where he's been working on this for at least 2 years, and he's been able to just put it together in chunks to make something that's going to be really fun and really quality.
And sometimes, I mean, a lot of our favorite indie films, that's what they've had to do is film it
Mm-hmm.
when they could, and sometimes it takes a little bit longer than a typical, like a big studio film, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that one definitely is one we're looking forward to. Another one I saw that piqued my interest that I want to ask about is Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
That one sounds really intriguing, and again, you co-star with some other genre folks that we're
Yep.
fans of. And what can you tell us about that one?
So that it just got an official release date. I don't know
Oh,
if I can
awesome.
publicly say what the actual release date is, but it is coming out this summer for sure.
Okay, cool.
So it was originally going to be May and it got pushed back, but so for summer for sure. Um, and
Awesome.
so this is another really just like brutal, gory, serious, not like Popeye's like fun gory. This is like serious, like
Yeah.
hardcore gory movie, and it's about a family, a wealthy family who throw these parties and give people an opportunity to change their life. And in doing that, a lot of the like life-changing things is an opportunity to get revenge on someone that harmed you. And so for me, I play the mother of a child who was killed by a drunk driver who's
Mhm.
also very like devout and religious. And I have this opportunity to potentially get revenge on the person that killed my child. And so it's a very emotional role for me. There was so many different levels that I tried to put into that character and just the stages of grief that she's dealing with, and then also wrestling with her own like inner conflict of, do I go against my faith in order to avenge my child? And so there's a lot of really interesting social commentary in that. So Joe Netter is the writer of it, and I think it's gonna it's going to make some devout people potentially a little upset because it shows the hypocrisy that can sometimes go along with some types of religion. So
Yeah. Well, we're definitely looking forward to that one too. Again, I mean, just some of the stills I was seeing and reading the synopsis and hearing you talking about it. Yeah, definitely sounds like it's going to be one to look out for. And yeah, this summer. So there we go.
yeah,
We
this
can
summer.
definitely look forward to that, and not too long from now as we're recording this. Um, and I know you're always super busy on stuff. What are some of the other projects that we can look forward to here coming up that you can tell us about?
Um, so we also have Pretty Boy. So that's the same director as
Yes,
Garden of Eden, Marcel Waltz.
that's
So
right.
Pretty Boy is also coming out in May, so the
Okay.
summer too. And that's a follow-up to his film Blind, which came out many years ago. Um,
Mhm.
so Pretty Boy, we actually shot it during like during COVID when we still had all those regulations. So it's taken 5 years, and now it's finally coming out. Thank God.
Oh, very cool. And that's a slasher, right? That's a
Mhm.
like a masked slasher. Is that?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
For our audience that's not familiar with that, what else can you tell us about that one? Because yeah, that sounds like another one that right up our alley.
Yes, another one with like old school practical effects. That one
I
does
love it.
also, throwback homage to the 80s. There's some of the typical like character archetypes from those 80 films, the stoners and the jocks and the gays and like just
Right.
segmenting it out. And there's a lot of really fun kills. The killer is masked, pretty boy. He's looking for a date. He's looking for love in all the wrong places. And when he doesn't
Oh,
get it, he
cool.
gets very upset. So, but yeah,
Oh,
another good one with lots of really cool effects for that one too.
oh, very cool. Yeah, I can't wait for that. That sounds fun.
It should be,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm looking forward to that as well. So.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we're going to look forward to checking all of those out very soon. And whatever else you got coming up too. I know you're always keeping busy and so many cool projects that you're always a part of. So yeah, I can't wait for all that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's like it's one of those things where, you make movies and then sometimes they take so long to come out, and then it's like right now th- like I
They're
have
all
something like being released like every month this year. It's for the first
that's
6 months of the year, which is nuts. Like it's like, and people are like, "Oh, you're so busy, you're always working." I'm like, some of these are 5 years old. Like it's like so I'll also give a shout out to The Long
yeah.
Game.
Hmm.
So The Long Game is currently available on streaming. It's not a horror film, it's a neo-noir thriller. It's
Okay.
it's great. So Jace Anderson, who co-wrote Night of Demons,
Oh
this is
yeah,
her
yeah.
directorial debut. And it stars Kathleen Turner. I mean, like incredible.
Wow. Okay.
And
Yeah.
so it's a really good film. I'm very proud of her for the work that she put into that. So I highly recommend checking that one out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I wasn't aware of that one, but yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. I'll definitely check that out.
It's yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
really fun. Again, not horror, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It sounds cool. What else? And are there others that you could talk about?
Let's see what else is out right now. So Round the Decay, which is the film that I originally was doing in New England, and then also jumped onto Popeye. So that movie came out too. I don't think it's on streaming yet though. They
Okay.
were they were doing like theaters across the country. They were kind of like taking, touring it um for a little bit. So hopefully that'll be coming out
Hmm.
on streaming services shortly. That's the way everyone watches movies these days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so that came out in January. So that's when like January, and then February was Long Game, and then March is Pop. Like it's really been like it's been great. And then
That's
I'm going
awesome.
to be working on a new film called Total Party Kill, which is a Dungeons and Dragons horror movie, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like Jumanji, where, shit happens in the real world based on what is happening in the game. And it's all female group, that's playing. And again, gory practical effects. Like that is in these days. People love it.
Oh, now that one sounds awesome. Yeah, is that something you said is about to be filmed, or it's already?
Yes. So
Okay.
we're currently scheduled to do that in May. So it probably,
Okay.
I mean, who knows how. I've given up trying to estimate when
Might be
things
in the
come
next
out.
4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, so it'll somewhere in there. So
Hopefully a little bit sooner than that,
yeah.
but that, yeah, that one sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
It's a really cool
Like a
concept.
more horror themed Jumanji type.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
get,
I'm like, oh,
I can get with that for sure.
how has no one done this before? I'm like, this is such a great idea.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for that. It should be fun.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Well, there we go. And audience, there we go. That's a lot to look forward to in the next few months, man. That's very exciting. And
Yeah,
yeah, we'll have to have you back on when a little bit closer to the release of some of these other ones, maybe, and
totally.
talk
Yeah,
more about them when the
absolutely.
time's right for that.
That'd be fantastic.
Um because yeah, they definitely sound right up our alley too, some of those. Um well, this has been awesome.
This has been
Um
great. I know. This is super
just
fun.
just just hanging out and getting the lowdown on so many of these cool projects, um and just talking to somebody else that's one of us,
I know. That's
living the Halloween lifestyle every day,
yeah.
like you said. That's always, just the best for us. So yeah, I can't thank you enough. This has been great.
No, this has been wonderful. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I love doing these. I love getting to talk to, other horror fans. I love doing conventions and like meeting people because like I feel like especially nowadays that like so much like the auditioning process for acting is all on self-tape and you don't really go in a room with people.
Right.
You get so like focused on getting the job and doing all your actory things to make sure that you're portraying the character as best you can, and the networking and the social media and like all this stuff. You forget about like these movies are made for people, then we're meant to get like feedbacks and reactions, and that's the entire point, is to create this joy and enjoyment of cinema for people to watch. And so
Yeah.
I just love getting the feedback from talking to like other horror fans, and just hearing how the movies have impacted them, or like made an impression, or whatever that it is that moved them to watch the movie, or if they hate it, that's fine too. Like
Right.
I still appreciate that people watch it. I don't like
Mhm.
everything. There's plenty of stuff I don't like.
Sure.
So, yeah, but just, enjoying this culture that we've created around horror and around Halloween.
Yes, yes, and they, yeah, well, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. I mean,
They
horror.
absolutely do.
I mean, there's every genre of Halloween, but horror is just, they're a match made in hallowed heaven.
For sure.
But yeah, everything you said about the community, we feel the same way. And whenever we can get out and be at events, and whether it's conventions or screenings or just whatever it is, and like you said, when it's face to face and we're out there in that community, yeah, it's just it's the coolest thing. Because I
Mhm.
mean, we talked to Joe Bob Briggs one time, and he was like, yeah, we all love our blood and guts, but we got the biggest hearts. And it's kind of, that's
Yes.
what you find is like the horror people. Yeah, we love the most disgusting stuff in art, but we got the biggest hearts in real life.
Absolutely.
So
The nicest
so
people in the horror sets are the most fun to be on, you know? Like
yeah,
I've done other genres too, but like I think that's one of the reasons that I love horror so much is like everyone, usually most people working in it really appreciate the genre. And you're doing such horrible things like on screen that it's nothing but laughs off screen. So it's, it's just
right.
everyone likes to hang out with their friends that they all have a common shared interest and common ground that they work off of, and that's what horror is. We all have a love for the same things.
Yeah, and absolutely, it's that circle you're talking about, because the fans too. The fun that on the set bleeds right in through, pun intended, to the fun in the audience. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's
absolutely.
that
Yep.
circle you're talking about, that community.
Very much
Well
so.
said. So well said. We couldn't agree more. Well, again, this has been great. I can't thank you enough. We'll definitely do it again, and
Yes,
we're going to be
please.
looking forward to all of these exciting projects you got coming. And Popeye the Slayer Man, of course, is out now, and
It's
some of
out
these
now.
others we've talked about are out now. And so so yeah, check them out, audience, if you haven't already. And this has just been awesome. And we always, because every day is Halloween for us.
Hmm.
So instead of, we always hate to say goodbye anyway. So I just always like to wrap up instead by just saying Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I love that. Yes, happy Halloween.